I want to bring you a CNN exclusive now on one of the simmering legal problems for Donald Trump. Today, two longtime Trump Organization executives, Matthew Calamari Sr. and his son, Matthew Calamari Jr., were due before the grand jury investigating possible mishandling of classified documents brought to Mar-a-Lago. The special counsel, Jack Smith, is probing the organization's handling of surveillance footage from the former president's Florida resort. And sources telling CNN, quote, the handling of the footage and how employees within the Trump Organization responded to the Justice Department's demand for it have prompted a new round of grand jury subpoenas to top Trump employees in the last few weeks. CNN's Paula Reed is here. She's part of the team behind this reporting. Also with us, our senior justice correspondent, Evan Perez. Carrie Cordero still at the table. Potentially mishandling the footage. What do we mean by that? Editing the footage, being slow to provide the footage? Something else?
We don't know exactly, but what we know is originally they were interested in the footage because they wanted to know what exactly happened to these classified materials once they were sent down to Florida. Among the things they've already seen on this footage, for example, is a junior Trump aide, Walt Nauta, moving some boxes out of a closet along with another employee. Walt's been asked about what exactly happened there. Remember, they're not just investigating possible mishandling of classified documents, they're also looking into whether anyone has tried to obstruct this probe. And now they've sent off this new round of subpoenas to ask people what exactly happened after they subpoenaed this footage. And did anyone try to withhold it or tamper with this critical evidence?
In an interview with Sean Hannity, Trump himself brought up the video footage and he said, I'm the good guy here.
They raided Mar-a-Lago, viciously raided Mar-a-Lago. I have tape, and I gave them tapes. You know, I gave them tapes of storage areas. I gave it to them. I could have held that back. I wasn't holding anything back that I cared about. I gave them tape.
I suspect here that what he says and what they being the investigators, think are, again, kind of different.
Right. I mean, the tapes were subpoenaed, so
right.
He wasn't being generous. He actually was, complying with an order from the court. And as Paula points out, certainly the obstruction part of this investigation is why the former president is in the legal jeopardy that he is in, right? The fact is that they received subpoenas. They were ordered to return all of these documents. They did not. And even after receiving them, there were documents being moved from the room that they had promised to secure. They had promised to put an extra lock on it. And so that's the reason why what Jack Smith is doing. And I think Paula hints at it there. The prosecutors believe that they know something. And that's the reason why they're bringing these people in to ask these questions, because they clearly seem to have information that they believe these men could shed light on.
So help us, as a former prosecutor, and you're in the room and you're trying to build your case, and you have testimony from individuals, including the Trump aide, who acknowledged to the grand jury that was him on the videotape. But now you have Matthew Calamari Sr., who has handled security issues for Donald Trump for decades, a long time. His son is the director of security now. So you're bringing them in, and you have the footage. Just help me put together the pieces of what you're looking for to build a case and why the video footage matters.
Well, so just a level set on this investigation generally, though, Evan's actually so correct in that this is a former president we're talking about, had it been determined, the Justice Department told him, we think you have classified documents, he provided them all, that would have been the end of this, the end. And instead, this obstruction part and the growing piece of it is why there is so much legal jeopardy and why it continues to expand to a broader array of people who potentially had either involvement in or knowledge of the obstruction of this investigation. So the video evidence is critical because it shows what would happen. Video evidence is one of the best pieces of types of evidence, in addition to text messages or emails, but sort of that documentary evidence, because it shows what it shows. It's not reliant on a particular person's reputation in terms of their own testimony. So then they bring these people in. They're going to get their potentially corroboration of what's on the videos, and they need to get the story behind of how it is that information was delayed in being provided.
We also learned from our reporting that one of the reasons they're particularly interested in Matthew Calamari Sr., this is a guy who's worked for Trump for decades. He's the chief operating officer of the organization. Is because he, according to our reporting, he received a text message from Walt Nauta asking if he had time to talk. And investigators are particularly interested in the conversations that then happened offline and whether there was any discussion of this video footage.
Right, and maybe, what did you want to talk about?
Exactly.
Was he asked to do something by somebody? So this is a dramatic escalation of the special counsel's investigation of this piece of it, the classified documents, which is one. Two is the events to try to disrupt, ignore, stay in power after the election, which goes from election night essentially through inauguration day, really, but January 6th being a seminal event in that. In that, Mike Pence, because special counsel won in court. Mike Pence had to testify to the grand jury, and he had to testify at times about direct conversations with the president. In our exclusive reporting yesterday, special counsel Jack Smith and Pence interacted while Pence was at the courthouse. And one source described the interaction as respectful. Smith's appearance is the first known time the special counsel has attended a grand jury proceeding in the investigation. Out of respect, because it's the former vice president and it is such an extraordinarily legal and constitutional moment, or here's a guy who might be a very important witness someday. I'm the chief prosecutor. I want to eyeball this.
I think it's the latter. I mean, the former vice president is one of the key witnesses, one of the most important witnesses, and certainly one of the witnesses they've waited the longest to try to bring into this grand jury. But you know, I think we have a list there of all of the members who have gone in recently, right? You have
people. Some have had to come back because Jack Smith has won in court, saying no, they need to tell more.
Right, because the former president was arguing for executive privilege. But the importance here is that one picture is not on that screen right now, and that's Mark Meadows.
Right.
He is probably looms largest of the witnesses that we haven't seen come in yet, or at least we haven't witnessed them come in, and that's important because we certainly believe that this investigation is coming near the end. I mean, there seems to be a lot of work still going, but Mark Meadows could very well be one of the final witnesses before they make a decision on whether to bring charges.
And a man who had eyes on just about everything.
On everything, in both investigations.
In both investigations.